Okay, so some of you folks have been talking about the boneyard. Well, here is the boneyard. Here's the start of the seagulls. Seagulls keep on coming out. Oh, there's a mercury in there. What's that doing in there? A few more seagulls down there. And going over to the back, we've got another dozen or so laying on the floor over there. So I do bring them in about January and get a few of them ready for sale. So I'm going to find the gnarliest corroded seagull I can find, and we're going to take the flywheel off it. So next thing you see is one of these gnarly things up in the shop. So here we are in the shop, and that's the motto I go by. And I have a little corner here at the Maritime Center. Everything I need, except a I'll turn around. So continuing around, lots of old seagulls back there, bits and pieces, new seagull parts. I got some bits and pieces of all sorts of good things, but right now what we're going to do is take this corroded looking motor and take the flywheel off it, and we're going to show you how I do it. I chose this particular motor because it is the most corroded I could find. Somebody's taken the cylinder off it. Some of the piston is missing, but there's a decent carb there, and there's a prop on there. So some of these parts, and it's actually a good mount, so I'll probably be able to get a few dollars off of this particular motor here once I have some of the things apart. But first of all, we're going to do the flywheel. So because I'm by myself, I have a little pulley up in the ceiling, and there's the rest of it, and we're going to see how I utilize this pulley in the ceiling for helping to take off the cylinder, the flywheel, I should say. So as I mentioned before, I'm by myself, so we're going to do this all single-handedly. Oh, look at that! My goodness. That was actually, it was actually seized when I brought this thing up from the cellar here, but that's rather interesting. I was working this wrench to get it onto the nut here, and look what's happened. It's actually, well, there's no cylinder anymore, so it was just the bearing, I guess, or down in here. Anyway, let's see if we can get this thing off. It's, I think, Seagull spec this to 24 foot-pounds, I believe. So usually, if it's not too corroded, a few taps get off. There you go. Look at that. Oh. This thing here is so corroded I couldn't even get that thing to move. So we're going to take the nut off first, and then we'll come back and see what we do next. So this is has come off, and the nut's off, and this thing here, as you can see, it's just absolutely corroded. There's actually holes in the darn thing. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can get this this off with the method I usually use. So we've got the cord is through the flywheel here. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put some tension by lifting up on the pulley that's up there, and actually lifting this thing slightly off its mounts by a little bit. And then we'll just put a knot in here, and we'll see where we're going from there. There. So basically, this thing is being supported by the up there. Normally, if you got a friend, they can hold this flywheel up, and then you don't need a pulley, but I'm by myself. The piston should always be at the end of its throat, right down, so the piston is far end. Well, that's interesting. Well, it's going to be close anyway, I guess. Remember I said it was free? Well, it's not free, it's actually jammed, but it's 3/4 of the way in there. It's important to do that because sometimes you can damage your end of your connecting rod. So make sure the piston is all the way down in the cylinder, and then now we're going to take it from there. I think this could be an important note. This is some diesel fuel in here, and lots of folks use penetrating oils and things, but I just find it gets a bit expensive, all these tins of special stuff. I just use a bit of diesel, and I just put it right down the hole where the keyway is, and flood the whole keyway area right up, so it comes right up and out of the, here it is, right up and out of the thing here, of the threads, and then going to go for coffee and come back in about 20 minutes, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so back from coffee, and we're going to get this off. So what I've done, I've put the nut back on again as far as it will go down thread-wise. Don't try to use a puller. This is a long, I should have said this at the very, very beginning. Don't try to use a puller with this. I've seen them come in here and they're just broken right in half. It's not the recommended way to use a puller to take off these pot metal flywheels. Anyway, and also too, that is never going to get it off. You don't, lots of little taps isn't going to work. What you need basically, I've got a 4-pound hammer, and I usually try to take it off in at least, or get it loose in probably 1 or 2 blows. So we'll see what goes on here. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. So now what we can do, I just realized I thought it had come free because it moved, but it was something else that moved. So it's probably going to take 4 bangs. So let's just see what happens here. There it goes. See? I don't know if you saw that move on the camera, but this whole thing now is loose. So I should be able to take the rope off it here, and the motor will drop down a bit. There it goes. And we'll take the rope off, and we'll take the nut off, and see what we have inside here. I don't know, look at all this corrosion on here. I'm not looking for much. Anyway, we'll see what we're doing here. So there it is. Oh yeah, well look, if you can see this is it's Corrosion City in here. So this would have been one of the tougher ones to take off. So I hope you've enjoyed that. And now you know how to take off a flywheel single-handed. Just a quick look at all this corrosion here. Looks like this thing was underwater for a while. The whole thing's completely corroded and rusted. And anyway, there's a few parts in there. Maybe that Mark II coil might be still good. Clean the points up. There's a few quid left in it for sure. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Talk to you soon.